everybody, welcome to the first 2023 episode of Let's Unpack That, a media and literary analysis podcast hosted by me and my friend, wherever he is on y'all's recording, Cal. Yeah.
I'm one of those.
Yeah, he's somewhere in here. I'm going to point and then it's going to work either way. And this is episode, I think I might have said it already, but this is episode 34. This is a Berserk episode, so if you're looking for Chainsaw Man, you can go listen to that 2-hour episode. And if you want to get our thoughts on that. But yeah, we're back. We are fully rested, fully past the holidays, but also back directly into hell at work. So we're very glad to be back to recording and talking about Berserk, especially today. Today's episode's pretty cool. It's very racist, but it's also pretty cool. So
we'll get through it. We'll
we'll figure it out.
That are happening.
Yeah. But we did spend some time getting some of our energy out and talking about the only things we've been obsessed about recently. I mean, I've been obsessed with Fire Emblem and a couple other things. I need to play Dead Space still, but we were talking about Fire Emblem, and one thing I did want to talk about Fire Emblem on the podcast, though, which, if you don't know, Fire Emblem Engage came out, newest Fire Emblem game out on Nintendo Switch. Looks like a GameCube game. It's fine. Plays great. God, the game looks fucking terrible. Like, the character models look great. Everything else looks fucking awful in this game.
We keep going like, oh, look at this beautiful JPEG. This gorgeous JPEG.
Fire Emblem, if you don't know, there's like social scenes for the characters. My favorite thing I've been laughing at recently is when they have two people standing somewhere. Sometimes in the background, it is the most pixelated fucking picture of a field you will ever see in your entire life.
So bad.
At like crisp 320p. It's a great game that I'm actually enjoying a lot. But that wasn't what I wanted to talk about, is the funny thing. One of the things we'll talk about, though, is I kind of mentioned this earlier, but a lot of the character designs are, I think Cal described it even better in a previous conversation you had, are kind of Genshin Impact-y. They're very, I think his name is Clan? Yeah, Clan. He even has, like, the braid, like the Genshin Impact MC. So, yeah, it's
so...
they're doing a lot this time.
Doing.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
They knew what they were doing, especially because, like, some of this game is very softcore dating sim to me. Especially this one. This one specifically is very, like... It seems like they've been kind of mostly toning it down since the first 3DS game. But, like, there's, like, weird stuff that just happens where it's like, this isn't a dating sim.
Yeah.
But this 15-year-old's gonna wake you up. So, it's...
Christ, yep. Like, there's... The whole wake-up mechanic thing, I, like, hate every single second of it. I hate it.
They tell you to wear headphones. They tell you to wear headphones for it.
I refuse.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, the ASMR experience of, like, having this,
Good morning, master!
Yeah, no, I'm good. The, like, 10-year-old British orphan, like, wakes you up and he's like, are you awake yet? And you're like, what the fuck is
Oi, mate, I want to be a doctor when I grow up. Can you help me? No, like, that's the thing, right? Like, there's so much of that. Like, well, one, the voice acting is really good in it. Everybody kind of, like, is... either the performances are, like, really, like, good for however boring the character is, or it's, like, somebody had a lot of fun just being an ass in the recording booth, or at home while they were recording some of these lines. There's one with Alfred that somebody... did where his voice actor just starts like screaming, basically. Like, it's really fucking fun. I think he tastes like Louis' food or something, or somebody's food. He just starts going like starts like screaming into the mic. I don't know who it's with. It's something I haven't encountered yet, but
oh my god,
like, there's so many things I'm willing to forgive with this game because there's a lot of parts that I like, but I'm still trying to get over the character design stuff. Because the MC, I got over that a long time ago. I'm like, I named mine Cole, C-O-L, because, like, Colgate, because that's what he fucking looks like. Like, I can't, that's what it is, right? But then I'm playing the rest of the game now, and I'm like, why are there so many, there's a lot of babies in this game. there's a lot of lolies and shotas in this game. Let's just put it like that.
I like pulled up like an age chart because I genuinely cannot tell with this game like how old people are supposed to be. And like I was at least slightly relieved that like for the most part it's like in the like 17 to 22-year-old range, so it's not like the weirdest shit that could happen. There's like it's weird because like there's like older guy like retainers for some of the other like nobles and stuff like that, and you're kind of like, oh, okay, I guess that makes sense. Like Diamond's like 26 or something, and then
which he looks like he looks
26.
Be that age. Yeah.
And I don't think you've met Zelkov yet, but he's 28, and so like there's some stuff. He and Louis have the funniest fucking interactions in the whole world because he's kind of a freak, and also Louis is a freak.
Louis is so weird. Louis is like so the person funny. I didn't expect to like him so much, because every time I immediately judge Fire Emblem characters as soon as they show up on the screen, right? So I'm like, 100%. I'm probably gonna hate you. You're a child, so I don't know if I like you yet. I'll give you like 4 chapters. But like Louis, I was like, I don't know, man. But then I started pairing him with like, he had a really funny interaction with, I think, it's the blue-haired one that rides the Pegasus. I forgot what her fucking name is. But,
Chloe.
Yeah, Chloe, and which the names in this game are hilarious. I think Saline is one of the characters' names.
Saline. Saline. I keep saying Celine, like, you know, like a normal person.
Bobby Boucher, Bouchard.
Saline, and I'm like, yeah,
Saline.
Saline, we're in Texas, God.
I think all like the women in that like town have a weird E. Like in that section of the country.
France, right? Like,
yeah.
I also
it's so
keep
funny.
accidentally calling Alfred Albert because I have a friend named Albert, and I'm just like, it's Albert, and they're like, who? And I'm like, yeah, it's the same name. It's fine.
Alfred, Albert, same shit. I mean, no,
because her mom is like Ev or something.
Yeah, it's Ev,
like Eve, but with an accent.
Alfred, Saline. Yeah, weird names. I think Hortensia. I think the whole family's named Flowers or something like that, or like after something. I don't know. I
can't remember. Maybe you're right, because there's the king is Hyacinth.
Yeah,
and the sister is Ivy. You're right.
They're all plants. Yeah, it's fun.
I got so mad, and I will let you get back to your thing. I got so mad though, because I was like looking at the names, and I could not figure out Alchrist's name, because I looked at it and I was like, is it like Crystal but weird? And then I was like, no, that's fucking stupid. They wouldn't do that. And then like someone was like, it's just Crystal with the syllables displaced.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Alchrist, yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah, like why would you do that to me?
I already like didn't like him very much at the time. He's gotten a little better, but like the whole like I'm a worm and nobody should like me, and I'm sorry annoying. You have to be around me, and I'm like, bro, shut the
nobody wants to deal with that. He reminds me like the fucking.
You're right. I don't want to be around you.
I don't know if you did this side quest yet in God of War, but there's this you know, Ratatasker. He has like his different personalities or whatever. His anxiety squirrel is so fucking annoying. He's always like, I know you hate me, and I'm sorry that you have to tell me this. And then it's so funny because Kratos is like, I don't think about you. He's like, I don't care. He's
Does
like,
not occur to me.
Do whatever you want to do. And he's like, wait, you don't care? And he's like, no. He's like, yeah, I don't care about you either. I like that. It's like, oh my god, it's fucking loser.
Oh my god. Yeah, but Alchrist first showed up, and I was like, oh, okay. And then like he like did his whole thing, and I was like, got it. Got everything that's happening here. Also, it's so funny that they named like the pink character Lapis. I'm like, is there pink Lapis? Is that a thing? I don't know.
I feel like they were just fucking with us with that one. Some of the names are so goofy. Alchrist though, his whole
I'm like, why
he's
not
like
a different rock name?
He's the one with the barrette in his hair and stuff, right?
Like razor,
the razor blade barrette. Like... Oh yeah, and he does and he does the whole like he like bows to you and shit the first time he sees you. God. I saw people on Twitter being like, "Oh, he's so cute," and I was like, I don't know why y'all think that's cute. I don't know. That's not.
God.
I like Archers, so
Okay.
I'm biased, but yeah.
So I was like, I mean, he's a great unit to
yeah, he's a
have.
good
Like,
unit,
he
yeah.
was wrecking fucking shop when we first got him, and I was like, okay, I'll keep you around. I don't mind that. But like, it made me so mad because I was like, okay, well, maybe he's like Bernie, and like his brother's kind of stuck up, and like his dad's kind of a shithead. And then you get to the palace. Sorry if you guys don't want like plot spoilers for Engage.
This is like very beginning stuff. Nothing has like actually really happened. Like
this part's pretty early on. It's just like character development. Anyways, so you like meet Diamant and the king. I cannot remember his name right now. And they're like both like, oh, Chris, you did a really good job, or like, and the king's even like, Diamond, why can't you be like your brother and like have smart ideas or whatever?
Yeah,
not in a mean way, just like, you know, like, see, he gets it. Why don't you get it? And he's still just like, oh no, I'm the worst, and they're like, no, you're not. Stop it. And
they like don't acknowledge it.
Yeah. They're just like, yeah, that's crazy, man. Anyways, but I was just like, okay, so you have a supportive dad and this really supportive brother who both care about you a lot and both like are normal to you, which I feel like is a really
so this is
big
a fetish thing, right? Like, like you're just weird, right? Like
you're just like. Is this like a humiliation thing? Probably. I'm not
probably.
gonna make too many jokes because he's 17, but like, yeah. Oh my god, yeah. It's so strange, and like, I forget because like, oh yeah, because Citrine's really cool. She's fun. I like her a lot. She's a good mage unit, and then I really like Diamant because he's really good.
Yeah,
at
Diamant's
everything.
sick.
Thank you.
Yeah. I like all my not gut stereotypes. I love them. Nobody's guts. Yeah.
At the point that we're at,
sorry, my cat's being stupid.
Oh, I figured it was your cat. I just want to make sure. At the point we're at, we like have recruited some spoiler units that I won't say, but like we haven't recruited like most of the people you see early on where we're like, oh, you're gonna come on later. I know this will happen because you have a design. So
yeah, and Fire Emblem was very good about. I don't know. It's funny because some of the other games kind of did it. This game does it a lot more. Where you fight people that you end up recruiting. That doesn't happen nearly as often in some of the older ones. But like my favorite thing about Fire Emblem is if somebody just looks really like fucked up, like and not like too cutesy, you're like, no, okay, I'm not recruiting you. That sounds good. Yeah, you're probably just the guy I have to kill. Or in this one, I don't know what's going on with the villains. Like I forgot who she is, the one with the horns and shit. The first time she showed up, I was like, oh, okay, Nintendo, you doing what you gotta fucking do now. Oh yes, they're gonna pull Xenoblade Chronicles with the shit.
Oh my god, she showed up and I was like, oh my god, is it the dark-skinned sexy woman with lighter hair that's a villain? Oh my god, she's got a purple color scheme. What's happening?
How many boobies can we fit into this T-rated game?
I had a moment because like I went to talk to Chloe and it was like one of the first times we had interacted with her in like her normal outfit, you know, not her like writer's outfit. And for those of you who have not played, her like outfit like accents her boobs like even more than normal. And we hadn't seen her yet. I was talking to her from behind and she turned around and I was like, holy shit.
No, you're right too, because okay, so for context too, this game is also like kind of like it's not like a life sim, but there's a lot more like life management stuff than there was. Like it's like it's kind of simplified from some stuff from Three Houses, but it's like a life sim in some ways. So you can like dress the characters up and shit like that too. But I noticed that too because I was like going through outfits and shit, and I was like, okay, what do they have here? And then I was like, why are her fucking boobs so big in this one? And then all the other ones, it's like I guess this one just has a push-up bra or something. I don't know what the fuck is going on.
I don't know what is in the water where Chloe's from, but like she turned around and I was like, oh yeah, we're in the orchard because there's some fucking melons right there. Jesus fucking Christ.
Oh my god.
It caught me so off guard. I was fucking dead. I was like, hello? What is happening? There's a unit you get later on, and she's like anime lesbian, like, to the nth degree, like, the very princely kind.
Because you gotta
And
have
she
one of
has-
those in every Fire
yeah.
Emblem game. Come on.
But, like, she and Chloe have interactions that are, like, very gay. And, like, I was looking at them, and Sasha was talking about it. It was like, oh, it's just Sailor Venus and Uranus from Sailor Moon. And I was like, oh my god, it is. Because it's, like, the same hair coloring. It's the same, like, prince dynamic, you know. I was like, oh.
Well, Chloe's like super gay because all of her interactions with Saline, they're dating. Like, they are. It's not like they're basically, well, they're talking about like, oh, remember when I met you and you took me on your Pegasus and like I was crying and you saved me and we went to the tea farm together and let's go to the tea farm when this is all over and oh you're so wonderful and why were you staring at me? I was appreciating your, no, they're dating. Like I was like reading this the other day or like watching the scenes and I'm like, okay, they're just going. Thank you, Fire Emblem. I guess if it doesn't end,
is also gay. Like at least by at least you know what I mean. Like she likes
Yunaka's
women
hilarious
to a degree. She's so fucking funny.
That character popped up for the first time. Yeah, I was like, am I gonna keep playing? Because the scene she shows up in, it's almost like it's I was doing it and I was like, is this fake? Like, is she like fucking with me?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on?
100%.
Yeah.
And like, also with that scene, I was like, why did we send Alir and Alfred to go do this shit?
The two most gullible people.
Like, someone would sell them like thin air. And, like, they come up to Yunaka, and she's like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm normal, and I lost this ring that I happened to find. And I'm just like, guys, she
took it.
She stole it.
And the name of the chapter is The Stolen Ring.
I know. No, she got it stolen from her.
Yeah.
Obviously. No, but then, like, when she tells them, and they're like, you stole it? You lied to us? And I'm like, guys. Alfred has the funniest interaction with her, though. I don't know if you've gotten it, because they're talking and she's like, it's really weird being here because, like, you guys don't suspect me at all. And he's like, no. And she's like, shouldn't you, like, at least be a little, like, wary? And he's like, I mean, like, it's been fine. And she's like, yeah, but, like, you don't know me. And he's like, yeah, but we're friends.
Yeah, like, that's like her whole thing too. Like, and she does. I think that's almost the same exact interaction happens with Alir, which for listeners, that's the main character.
Oh yes.
Is like that's like the canon name or whatever. You can call him whatever you want in the game, but he does the same thing. He's like, wow, you've been like really awesome around here. Like, we really appreciate you. Like, you're doing a good job, Yunaka. And she's like, no, you hate me. And he's like, what do you mean? You're great. I don't have any questions about anything. She's like, I fucked up. I'm really sorry. And then she just like walks away. And he's like, he's like, what just happened? I don't know.
What's going on?
Yeah. It like in so many of those, like Fire Emblem games are so good because I didn't realize how much of a Fire Emblem fan I was until this one came out. I was like, oh, I've been playing them a lot, especially since Awakening came out. And I played a couple of the Game Boy ones, like Game Boy Advance ones too. Mm-hmm. But those aren't the same as these, right?
No.
So
it's very different.
Yeah. I feel like they're like two separate, like, it's like when people say like old Sonic and new Sonic, it's like that to me. Like, it's like completely different type of game. I think that's a good
comparison point.
Yeah. So, like, I don't know, it's cool to see the game like get bigger over time or whatever and like just change so much. But also like with this one, I'm like, damn, they are really digging into the anime shit. Like, they are like
big time.
They're just like going full force into it, and it's just so funny seeing some of the older characters come back and like be put in that art style, and like seeing Roy and Ike is like, especially seeing them in like Smash Bros for so long with those original designs or whatever. It's like, whoa, why are your eyes so fucking huge?
I'm like, what is this? Yeah, my friend I've talked about before, Magic, he loves Fire Emblem and he loves Lucina like specifically, like to. She's like his all-time favorite character out of anything. He got a Figma of her for Christmas, and it's very cute. But he was very happy about it. But it took it forever to convince him to get it, but he did. But I told him that she was in the game because he's been really on the fence about getting it because he's like, I hate the style because he hates Genshin to like And I understand, and he is completely valid for this, but like
I don't like Genshin's art style, to be honest.
it's so bad. And like he also doesn't like VTubers, and he doesn't like a lot of like, you know, the more cutesy anime stuff, which I get a lot of his reasoning for that. But I was like, yeah, Lucina's in it. He was like, oh, maybe I'll play it. And he's like, wait, what does she look like? And I was like, I get like
she looks about the same. I mean,
she's mostly the same. And we like went and looked, and he was like, she looks like really young. And we like were comparing art. And I think what started happening with Lucina, and probably with a lot of other characters too, is that they started rounding out their faces for the mobile games. And then like some of the mobile games specifically, like they straight up look like children, which is weird.
I've noticed that. A lot of people have been really mad about how Martha's been looking like for the past like mobile games and the several other games. He looks really young in this one, which kind of kills me because I'm like, he looks like a baby. Also, the way he talks is really funny because it's exactly how I'd imagine Marth would be. It's just very like, like he was in the arena. He's like, I am Marth. And that's all he says. Like, yeah,
Marth.
Yeah, Marth.
Goddamn. So fucking funny. I like Marth. I like most of the emblem rings. You get Lynn later on, and she's like very ditzy.
Oh, that's fun.
She's also a really cool emblem ring. Her like super whatever is really cool.
That's sick.
But yeah, I really like the whole emblem mechanic too. We were like, we're not going to talk a lot about Engage, but there's so much to talk about with it.
Yeah,
honestly.
no, I mean, and that's kind of like, it's kind of related to some of the, because I mean, like it's, I don't know, it's a like fantasy realm that some anime kind of do, and you know, I feel like it's not too far off, right? Like, and I kind of do like this because that's kind of what I started to get the vibe from the game. I'm like, oh, okay, I see what they're trying to do. Like, this is like a love letter or whatever to all the other Fire Emblem games, because like you can make like sub rings for that like are like characters from other games that are like, I guess they weren't significant enough to be like emblem rings, but they're like, you know, Easter eggs and stuff. And that's kind of been what Nintendo's done with a few of their games that they've like booted up on Switch. Like Ultimate to some people isn't even like a direct sequel per se. Like, it's kind of like a, like, all-stars version of the game. Because it is, like, celebrating every Smash game. It's celebrating all the games in Smash. It's, like,
I can see that.
Bringing everything together. It's got the most wild guest characters out of every other version of Smash.
Insane. So, I'm glad he got to do everything he wanted to with it.
Yeah.
And he was like, I set out to do this. And also I got Sora.
Fuck y'all. Yeah.
Sora for years, and I got Sora, and I'm like, I'm so happy for you, man.
Mickey Mouse is in the game on the keychain, bitch. I win. Exactly. And I kind of see this game kind of the same way. Because at first I was like, this is so weird. Like, why, like, what universe is this? Why, like, is this, like, so much further in the future than all the other games? And then when I kind of, like, got, like, oh, we need to go recover all the emblems, and every time you see a new one, you're like, I remember that motherfucker. And it's like, oh, okay, that's kind of what they're going for, is, like the first time you see Lucina, I don't want to spoil it, but, like, the first time you see Lucina, if you don't know who that is, it doesn't really mean too much. But if you, like, played Awakening or the other games, you're like, oh, shit, like, what the fuck?
God,
like,
it's
fucking Lucina. Which is why, and this is the last thing I'll say about this game, I'm kind of pissed that a lot of the Three Houses characters aren't just in the game. Like, you have to buy the DLC.
I'm so mad about it.
Everything comes out in waves, and the first wave has the fucking only from the most popular game in the series until this one. Like, okay, like, I don't know. The day one DLC thing with any game pisses me off, and the game is no different. Yeah. So, like, I'm kind of just, like, rolling my eyes at it, but, you know.
Let's rock!
So, just to recap, and for those of you who have not done a recap with us before, we're going to give you, like, the bare bones just so you know where we're at. I might give you a little bit more this time because we have not been recording since, like, December. So, also to remind myself where we're at, even though I did my notes very recently. Anyway, so if you want, like, a more detailed thing, obviously go listen to our previous episodes that are, like, an hour and a half long minimum. You will get plenty of intro in them. But for right now, last time we talked about 2 chapters. We talked about, we're still in the midst of Griffith's, like, rescue mission that's happening, and that's been going on for a minute now. Maybe it just feels like a minute because we've taken a bit with the holidays, but also I think
they
lasts a while.
They just stopped in that stairwell for like 2 months. That was really fucking
they're
weird.
just like, I don't know, Miura's hiatus. I don't know what happened. Anyways, so as you can see here, we got to the point where they found Griffith, and they were like, oh, he's not doing so good, actually. Like, he's doing pretty poorly.
Yeah,
let me make sure OBS is... Okay, good. It is working. Sorry.
No, all good.
I got scared it was, like, not working properly, and I was like, oh, shit. Yeah, so Griffith isn't doing so good, and, like, as they're, like, examining him, they realize, like, his tendons have been cut, his tongue has been cut out, like, his fingernails are ripped out, he's, like, had, like, skin, like, pulled off of, like, his muscle, like, he's just, like, in a straight up horrible state, as you could kind of like get a glimpse of here. Since we're putting this on YouTube, I don't want to put too much on there, but like
it might be censored if you're watching it on YouTube. I do apologize for that.
But yeah, so Griffith is not doing good, and everyone kind of has like a little breakdown moment where they're just like, fuck, okay, I don't know what we should do now. And like, Charlotte's freaking out. Guts is actually having a breakdown, and Casca is definitely not doing well. But they kind of get jarred out of this moment because we have our lovely friend. Where is he?
Mr. Jailer.
Mr. Jailer, here he is. We have our lovely ableist stereotype jailer who comes along, and he's like, I got you, bitch. And
literally.
And, he does this little villain monologue where he's like, oh, yeah, I tortured him so good, and I ripped out his nail, everything I just told you guys. And he's, like, pretty proud of himself, and he's like, oh, now I'm going to return the princess, and, like, the king's going to be so happy with me, because, like...
Things are looking up for Torturer,
he hates
man.
This guy, he loves the princess, like, my life's going to be good in, like, 2 seconds. But while he's doing that, Guts is, like, getting ready to, like, smash the door down, and the guy's like, oh, you can't get me, I already told you, like, this door is, like, solid, there's nothing happening. And then Guts immediately breaks the door down.
Yeah, as he does.
as he does. Yeah. And, like, skewers the jailer, gives him, like, cuts out his tongue, gives him a one-liner, and then, like, drops him into the pit of the tower, which, if you don't remember, is, like, essentially a bottomless pit with just, like, a corpse pile at the very bottom that you can't even see. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot happening with that.
I think he's dead. He might be dead, yeah.
I don't know. He might come back. I could see it. I can look forward to it in chapter 100.
The fifth member of the God Hand, Jailer Man. Yeah.
Oh my God. So who? The jailer. No, but Guts does his thing, and then they realize they're like stuck because a bunch of other guards show up, and they're like, we got you now, because the jailer had like put out the alarm or whatever, and they're just like, shit. Okay. So Guts, as we all know, Guts does not give a fuck about how many people there are, and he's also already in like trauma mode, so he just like goes up the stairs, typical Guts fashion, slashing and hacking, and the guards do the whole, he's not like that strong, like we'll be okay, right?
We'll be alright.
Like, it's all good, and then mows through them, gets to the top of the stairs, and then another guy's like, it's just one of him, I can take him. Immediately gets his head sliced in half, like some real good, Berserk standards happening here.
Like, it's one of those things that, like, it makes sense the longer you look at it, but also it doesn't make any sense the way he killed this man. Like, it's...
Yeah, it's let me see if I can... YouTube's gonna be mad at me.
YouTube will be mad, but it's all good.
He finds this guy and just like completely brains him. Like, what is happening here?
His tongue's like lashing around everywhere. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Like,
good moment.
Cuts him like right here, I guess. I don't know. I love this panel. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna scroll down a little bit. Oh wait, no, this is still killing people.
Yeah, that's even worse. Yeah.
Let's just pause right there. So Guts is still killing people, and the king shows up because like his guards are about to start like firing arrows, and he's like, "Don't fucking do that. My daughter's down there. Also, I'm insane, and I will kill you if you hurt her."
Yeah, very insane.
I am not doing all that because we found out he is not doing well. By the way, he is like he looks like he's aged like 100 years in the past year, and like he can't even stand up on his own. Like he is not doing well at all.
Looks terrible.
Looks horrible, and he's like, "You guys gotta stop!" Like, but he sees Griffith, which like triggers his like, "I gotta kill that guy!" like brain neuron moment. And so he stops being senile for like 2 seconds. It's like, "I gotta kill Griffith. I'm gonna send these guys after him." And it's the Bakiraka.
The Bakiraka.
We left off on this last time because we were like, "Oh man, who's that?" And we alluded to the fact that there's some racism about.
Man, y'all see the
here.
turbans, bro. Y'all know what's about to go down. Y'all see the shit.
Y'all see the sizing on stuff. You know what's
tag
what's
yourself.
going down.
I'm the guy on the guy's shoulder. Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah,
we'll talk about
we'll
him. Yeah, no.
So first of all we get this very cool picture of Guts, who is also not doing well. God bless him, but he looks great, looking good. But yeah, so we get to actually sort of meet the Bakiraka a little bit more, and there's no racism happening at all.
No, they're just barefoot for no reason. Yeah,
they're barefoot, wearing robes. The
bangles around their feet.
Exposed. They have darker skin. Nothing untoward happening here.
Yeah. They're from the east.
And yeah, they look. I know. I have my notes. I have in italics. The east.
Oh gosh.
And they're like, "Oh God, like what are these?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, they're like a fighting group of people, and like they're like from an assassins organization, which is also definitely not racist to do.
Not a terrorist organization.
South Asian / Middle Eastern, it's fine. It's all fine. But the guards are kind of like, I don't know about this shit. I don't know if we should send them out, but they're fucking scary as hell. So we're gonna let them do their thing.
Yeah.
And this guy's even like, I didn't even know they were here. I didn't know they. He's like, I don't. All right.
Yeah, and for full context, like the transition from the last chapter, literally the king says, "Send in the Bakiraka," and they're just there. Like they're already there. Like, it's not like this is like an hour later or like a week later. This is 2 seconds later they just pop up.
Immediately they just show up, and you're like, oh, all right, they're here.
Okay, because I thought that was just like a splash page to be like, watch what comes next week. But no, they're like just standing there. Also, we still can't see their faces for some reason, which yeah,
we will.
Yeah, we will see their faces.
Oh boy. You can tell Chevall and I are very excited about this, and the way we are excited about most things like this, which is not very, but also we're going to talk about it because that's our show.
Yeah. Yep.
So the king's like, look, I need you to like kill everyone who stole the princess, and like especially Griffith. I hate that bitch. I need you to kill him. Like, I don't care what you do, but like, I don't care if you kill yourselves to kill him. Just like, do it. I literally don't give a shit. And then he's like, but like, don't touch the princess though, or I will commit genocide. And they're like, cool.
Literally. Like, he's like, I'll kill like all of your people. Like,
yeah, he's like, I will go to the east myself and like kill everybody there if you touch her, which is a totally normal thing to say. That is not like absolutely deranged at all.
No.
Yeah, and so he's like, he's like losing his shit here. He is not. He's got a one-track mind. He needs Charlotte alive, and he needs Griffith dead into the ground.
Even though he's like, like Griffith can't even move right now. So I mean, he's not fighting back. So
no, it's
okay, dude.
it's
like,
like,
why go this far at this point? Like, yeah, I think he learned whatever lesson you were trying to teach him. Like, yeah,
right.
no.
Like, it's just overkill at this point, but he doesn't care. He's like, well, if I can't have her, Griffith definitely shouldn't have her. And he's like, all right. Anyways, incest.
Yeah.
Moving away from that momentarily. Guts was here. I don't know if you could tell.
Oh yeah.
But,
oh god. One of these panels is actually terrifying.
Yeah, we're gonna blur that out for the YouTube version. But you know, they're like sweating. They've been making it through it, and it's just like, okay, we made it here, so we got it right.
Yeah.
And
one thing I did notice about this part that's cool is like you can tell he actually redrew the area that they like came through before. So like this is actually like backtracking from like where they got caught by the guards all the way back to the mausoleum. Right. So like I will say shout out to Miura. This is like actually good continuity because I was like, oh, I actually remember these places. So like it's literally these same locales but like covered in dead dudes. Like it's the exact same.
Oh, you're right, because they're trying to escape out through the same entrance. I'm stupid. I should have figured that.
No, it's all
I'm good at context. But I do this podcast for a reason. No, no, that is really cool. Yeah, didn't just reuse shit from the previous set. He was like, no, I'll draw it all again. I like drawing mausoleums. I will draw all these things again.
I like drawing nondescript Jesus. I love it. It's great.
It's not Jesus. It's
Ewan McGregor.
It's I don't know. There's some religion thing happening later on. I don't remember, but
it's fine.
Yeah, but Judo's kind of like our like window into things for like most of these chapters, and he's just kind of like, damn, like we made it this far, but like it also seems like people stopped attacking us at some point, which is kind of sus. But okay.
Yeah.
Griffith is, you know, they're all watching Guts, who is, he's not doing great. He's super tired, but he's also like running on adrenaline and whatever else fuels him. A lot of things fuel Guts. But everyone's like, damn,
he ain't doing too good. He don't look too hot.
He's not doing so hot. And Charlotte's even like, oh, he's scary. I don't like that. And like, I can't, looking at this, like, I don't blame her. Like, this is a moment where Guts really does look like
he's like covered in blood. A lot of people
describe him like as a beast in a lot of ways, where he is just like completely focused on battle. Like he's not meant for anything else. Like he is what he believes he is constantly, but also what other people describe him as when they don't know him.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to that training he was talking about. It's like, well, I guess this is what he was working on. Like, holy fuck.
Yeah,
like,
just like mowing through everything, which is most of Guts' training up until a certain point. Like he just
he's just like, I'm gonna hit it really hard, and that's my whole strategy. That's basically his whole thing. Yeah.
It's like, oh, did you learn like a new tactic, Guts? No, I broke a log. And it's like, what? He's like, yeah, I had someone throw a tree at me and I broke it.
Yeah, I had a little girl throw a log on top of me.
And it knocked me on my ass the first time, but then I got it. So,
it took a whole year to do it. Yeah.
Whole year. But Casca, you know, is concerned and walks up to him and like goes to clean him off. And he's like startled because I'm sure he's not like entirely there at first, and we know how Guts feels about touch in general. He can't even talk right now. He's just like, what? What do you want? And she's like, you're scaring people. You need to clean up like at least a little bit. Just like very matter of fact, which is kind of what I like about Casca with how she deals with Guts a lot of the time. She's like, you look bad. You need to fix this. We are fixing this right now. Griffith is watching this and thinking. We don't know what yet, but he is thinking. And doesn't look too happy about it, though.
Yeah. Yeah, one of these panels is very, like, it's the one where he's on Pippin's
like,
back. He looks
he's like
angry. Yeah.
He's like, I don't like that shit. But, you know, she's like, all right, Guts is clean. We gotta go. Like Charlotte can stop being scared for 2 seconds. We gotta get back in the sewers. Oh no, who's following them into the sewers?
Yo, shout out to them though, because they're always in the same like formation every time they
I
pop up.
know.
These first few times, it's
Pose like JoJo. It's like
literally
the killers in JoJo where they're like always like the same at first.
Yes, exactly. Like up until this point, like they might as well like all be like the same like picture that they're just like moving around from panel to panel.
You know what? I wish it was like that in the anime because that would have been a really funny like visual attack. That wouldn't have been horrible because like I feel like most of the shit involved with them is just not great.
Yeah, yeah, especially with
Yeah, but we always see this guy first, the guy with the hooks. So just foreshadowing, guy with the hooks, kind of the leader,
kind of the big dude. Yeah,
big guy. But they're back in the sewer. I'm walking, and Anna's like, "What the fuck did I do to deserve this? I've worked so hard. I like thought I was gonna be the princess's handmaid, and I was gonna have it all cushy, and my life was gonna be great, but no." And Charlotte's like, I'm sorry, but like it'll be okay. And she's like, fucking no. Also, I'm really desperate, so I'm not like going anywhere. I need this job. So which
she's like, have y'all seen what it looks like outside the castle? No. She's like, girl, I am staying here.
She also said, like, you know, like, I mean, she's a woman of the people. She knows what inflation is. She's like, I need this job. I'm not going anywhere.
What about my parents' remittance? Yeah, that's what she said. She's like,
yeah.
What about that? I got debt, bro. What the fuck is going on?
I want to go to college someday. No, she's like, yeah, whatever. I'll stick with you. It's fine. And she does care about Charlotte. Like, I know she seems like very brusque here, but she has made it clear that she does care about Charlotte before. Yeah. It's been a minute since we saw that, so I just wanted to remind everyone. Charlotte's like also not doing great though. Neither of them are used to like walking this much, and they're walking with like trained mercenaries who all they do is like battle and moving places
with heavy ass armor on all of the time.
Like fucking Pippin wearing like a fucking fortress at every given moment
while carrying a whole ass person at the moment. Yeah, exactly.
Who also has a heavy piece of and she kind of reaches a point where she's like, you know what, like, fuck it, we're going. And Anna's kind of like, whoa, and she's like, I don't give a shit, like, we have to go, I need to do this to be like mobile, I hate the skirt. And Anna like kind of mentally is like, oh, like something like shifted there. She's not just doing like her princessy thing anymore. And Charlotte's thinking to herself, she's like, I don't care how I look. I don't need like my servants. I don't need a fireplace. Like, I don't need anything. I just like need to be with him, even if he can't speak, even if like it takes forever for him to heal. Like, we'll be together. It'll happen. And I'm just like, that is so optimistic.
It's a lot.
But,
yeah. She's definitely like, still a child. Yeah.
Yeah. It's that kind of idealism where you're like, wow, that's
it's like, what if, but Charlotte, like, what if he never learns to speak, like, because
what if he
probably
dies
won't.
soon? Like,
what if he dies? Like, that's a whole other conversation. But it's like, that's her naivety. Yeah, exactly.
When we fully discuss, we'll get into it. But yeah, she's convinced, like, this is like my motivation. This is what we're doing. But before she can get like too wrapped up in like her kind of like heroic-ish thoughts, Guts is like, wait, I heard some shit. Hold on. And you just like hear the dripping. You see like this like water fountain. There's like all these noises that are like distraction noises, and he's trying to hear like a specific thing that he heard before. And then he looks up.
Mr. Bakiraka.
Yeah, this scene in the anime is fucking terrifying, by the way, because he like looks up and you're just like, Jesus Christ, like, especially if you haven't read it before, you're just like, oh, okay, he's just on the roof, all right. So this is obviously not a great position to be in, and he goes to attack, and Guts is like, oh fuck, okay, just immediately back into battle mode, like anything that Casca kind of restored is just immediately slipping back into tactics mode.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, yep, we're back. We're fighting and we're going." He surprisingly doesn't get clipped. Like, he manages to stop it with his sword. And then
he has like these like Wolverine claws, like
yeah.
the Bakiraka dude, which like he reminds me of another like very stereotypical character who's been around a long time. He reminds me of like Dalsum from
I knew you were gonna say
from,
that. Yeah.
from Street Fighter. Yeah, and so like if you're only listening to this, like imagine that stereotype, like very long and like skinny 6-pack sinewy looking dude.
Yes. His limbs are like, I forgot, like, not everybody watches our podcast all the time anymore. I'm just
should
like,
watch
pictures. You should watch it. It's fun. But this guy has like abnormally long limbs. Like, all of them are very thin and like oversized, and it just like adds to the sense of like unease about him. He kind of, the shape of it is kind of like those guys in Zelda who are like all white.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they have like really spindly limbs and you see them and you're like, I need to leave
Yeah.
immediately. That's like the sense that this evokes. Especially when he like scuttles off into the shadows after he like flips. He does like 3 somersaults and then
he
like
does
lands on the wall and then like backwards like crawls out of the frame and you're just like,
that shit
great.
is. I need to see this animated because like looking at it was
insane.
creepy enough, and then like thinking about it animated, I don't even want to like.
This scene is oh god, this scene is very good in the anime. Like racism aside, but like most of this fight scene is very cool. And they're all just kind of like, what the. Like, they all just kind of pause, and they're like, what the fuck was that?
Literally.
What just happened to us? But Guts is like, no, like, don't let him scare you like that. Like, he says it's still nearby.
Yeah,
like, he's just like,
he doesn't even know what's going on. Yeah,
like,
they weren't around for the announcement, so they have no, like this is a full ambush. Yeah, they didn't get the full anime hero like, hey, we're gonna introduce ourselves. Here's my name next to my head. Yeah, no, you didn't get that. It's
just like, they are here. It is happening. Watch the fuck out. So they're trying to like guard everyone. Charlotte's very scared back here. I love how Charlotte and Anna are drawn like in the background throughout most of these panels because it's just like the little tiny faces that I think are very funny.
Yeah, it's just like 2 dots and like a tiny mouth, like, or they just don't give them a mouth at all. They're just like,
it's like it's just really funny to me. But Casca notices something by her feet, which is also terrifying.
Nah, he's the cover. That's the cover right there, bro.
This was a scary part. Yeah, just this. God, this was the scary part for me with the anime. For real, I was just like, oh god, what is happening? But this guy like lunges up out of the water at her. He has like a trident or something.
Separate dude.
Yeah,
they're completely different guy.
He's the new guy. He's like small and compact, and to me, he looks like kind of like people draw, like the oh my god. I cannot remember what area they're from, but there's like these mermaids that people found, quote unquote. It's like an oddity or whatever. Like he's drawn kind of like people draw scary mermaids, where he just has like a Voldemort face, sort of.
Yeah,
like
that's
like slits for nose.
Yeah, slits for nose, real like kind of flat looking face. His eyes are like there's no pupils or anything.
Yeah, like
he kind of looks like
eyes.
He looks like the Yokotaro's mask to me. Is what he looks like.
Oh my god, he does.
The big like cheese in face with no pupils. Yeah, that's kind of what he looks
You're
like.
So right. Yeah, like
he's
very much like
freaky as fuck, honestly. Like he's super buff too. Like they don't really show it at first, but he's like fucking like been in the gym.
You see in one panel like his like back muscles are like is defined as like my little brother's. Like he is like stacked. He is ready to go. But he like attacks and Casca blocks and goes to attack him, and then he just kind of like swims off, which made me laugh looking at this panel. It was just really funny to me.
Yeah,
it's a very serious scene, but like this part made me laugh so hard. I was like, why is he just like woo?
Yeah, it's really funny, honestly.
I'm wondering if he's supposed to be kind of frog-like, you know?
Yeah, I think that from his design, that's kind of what they're going for, like a frog. He's just like a real like fucked up looking frog. I feel like that's like yeah,
like
frog
if a
would make it
was
fucked
human,
up.
but not like real human.
Yeah,
That's we'll go with that one. But
he
like
has teeth too. Oh god, that's terrifying.
yeah, no, he's got teeth. He's scary. But but Casca or Guts, I can't tell who is talking. Someone's like, oh, it looks like there's like some fucking monsters down here. What the fuck? But thankfully, Judo, our like lore expert, knows exactly what's happening.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's like, oh, it's the Bakiraka, and everyone's like, huh? How do you know this shit? And he just like keeps talking. But he's like, no, it's like a mercenary band, and like I heard that like each one is like a superhuman monster, but like these guys kind of like they're like beyond that even to me. Like that's crazy. And he's like, to think that he'd sick him on us, King must have really snapped. Like he must be like he's not good. And while they're
like a
talking
last
about
resort
this
type shit.
yeah, or like just like a completely unhinged moment where it's like, yeah, we're gonna send these people out, and everyone's like, why would you do that?
Yeah, it's like I guess it's like the equivalent of like a country being like, I'm going to use the nuke, and everybody's like, no, wait, whoa, what are you doing? Yeah, kind of
I'm
like
going to bomb the world, and it's like, maybe don't do that. Actually, there's an even bigger moment later that is one of those, but it's like, I'm going to blow up a country, and it's like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
But as they're talking, another guy crawls out of like a drain. I'm like, why are you guys in the walls and shit? How did you even do that? But this guy crawls out, and he's like, he's like narrower than the frog guy, but he's also very small. Like he literally crawls out of like a water spout, basically. And he has a blowgun. And nobody notices because he like pops up behind everybody. And Charlotte happens to see. And he's like going to like, you know, attack Griffith. He's going to like fire a dart or whatever is in there. And given that they're assassins and we know this for certain now, you're like, it's probably poisoned. Like there's probably shit on that.
Yeah, it's not just like a poke.
Thing ever. Yeah. You're like, oh, it's probably not great. And Charlotte tries to warn Griffith, but the guy's already firing. So she just like pops her arm out and blocks Griffith, and it hits her like right where her vein is, honestly. Like I'm like, damn, that's where I get like blood draws and stuff. Like she gets
like right here.
God, it's like right, and I'm just like, oh. Honestly, when I looked at this panel, I was like, ugh. Like I could like feel the needle. That's kind of not fun.
Yeah.
But she catches it and she drops the lantern in the process. And everyone's kind of like, what the fuck just happened? Like as she's falling into the water, and nobody even knows what's happened at this point. They just see like Charlotte suddenly falling to the ground, and that is the end of that first introduction to the Bakiraka.
The first introduction, Bakiraka Part 1.
Slash.
As we were just finishing this up, I was thinking like, damn, like imagine how fast all of this happened for them. Like they got in the cave, they probably been running for 5 minutes. All of a sudden, this dude swings down at them. Another guy jumps up at the trident, and then as they're like looking around, they turn around, and they didn't even see what happened. But like Charlotte just falls to the ground. It was probably like, what the fuck is going? Like
in the span of like 2 minutes, and they're just like, hello,
what's going on? Yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and you can go ahead and do the
switch off
screen share. Yeah. I'll share mine, and then we can keep going. Yeah, so that was Bakiraka Chapter 1, and we'll do Chapter 2. If you're reading on the Read Berserk website, it's kind of funny. I think this is like the cover for one of the volumes, but I think they just repurposed it as the beginning of this chapter. I'm pretty sure it's the cover for the volume it's in, but yeah. So we go back to the cavern that they're in, like the underground, thing with all the sewer, with all the nasty water and shit everywhere. But yeah, Charlotte is falling to the ground before anybody can even realize what's going on. Griffith just happened to like see what's happening, and he's like, "Oh shit!" Like this is like really happening to us, right? So Anna catches her before she like hits the water, but Anna's already kind of fallen. I mean, Charlotte's already kind of fallen down at that point. Guts finally sees the little guy that was in the spout, and he tries to swing for him, but he misses because you know, he already had to jump. He already had to jump on him, so he had plenty of time to dodge. He kind of gives a little like he kind of like giggles as he runs away too. Like this isn't funny, but so many other mannerisms and shit. It's like what the fuck is going on, right?
Like these gremlins that just like popped up out of nowhere.
So right, he thought he got away, but he didn't because as he jumped away, like Guts kind of did one of those like samurai moves. Like he literally just like because he swung for him. And then as the guy was jumping away, he swung his sword backwards, and he ended up catching him, right? So he cuts the little guy in half. So that's one member of the Bakiraka dead, right? So they finally are able to turn back to Charlotte. Anna is losing her mind. Casca's like, oh, shit, your highness, what's going on? And she's already kind of out of it, right? Like Charlotte's not dead, but she's obviously, like, incapacitated at this point. Like, whatever they gave her is, like, fast acting, right? Mm-hmm. So they're all focused on Charlotte. But while they are, Long Boy pops back up, and you know he's stretched out with his arms at the top of the cavern. He's like, "Don't move. Give me 1 second." He kind of like he doesn't even like drop all the way down. He drops like his legs to like extend like the rest of the way down into the cavern.
He's like, and I want to get in the water.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not getting this nasty ass water. And, you know, he kind of looks at his comrade, and he's like, you blundering fool. He's like he's kind of like, you fucked it up for us. Like, you know, we almost had this plan. So, he's like, can't believe you got killed, right? So, you know, he's kind of just staring down the Band of the Hawk, and he's like, all right, wait. Before we fight, don't kill me yet. He's like, or don't let me kill you yet, but I need an exchange, right? And this is the first time we actually get a good look at this guy's face, right? All the other faces we've seen from him, he's been very, like he's either, like, flipping, or he's making, like, some sinister face while his face is at, like, this strange angle. But he's got very, Exaggerated, there you go, exaggerated features. Definitely not an Arab man. But,
no.
Yeah, no, he's like, I would like to make an exchange. He's like, so... And just remember, this is not intended. They were trying to get Griffith, right? So he's like, we want you to hand over the princess. In exchange, like, we'll get her back to the castle. Like, it's all good. She'll live. She won't be a part of this. Like, we'll take care of our shit after this, right? And I think it's Gut saying this, but he's like, what? And, you know, the guy says, you know, yeah, the blow dart was indeed poisoned. He's like, she'll die in a pretty short time if we don't get her back. And we have the antidote. So, you know, it will go badly for, like, he's like, don't worry, if she dies, we're fucked too. Because, you know, if you remember, like, the guy literally said, I will kill everybody you love, basically. So, he's like, so, where do we go from here? Like, he's like, I presented the deal, this is what's going down, what do we do? So, you know, Anna's, like, crying out, like, it looks like Charlotte's, like, starting to, like, develop a fucking fever, like, she's passed out at this point. And Casca's kind of looking around, and she's kind of, I mean, at this point, she is the leader, right? Like, great that Griffith's back. He literally can't speak for himself at the moment. And, you know, Guts is a killing machine. So she's like, yeah, it's fine. We'll grant you your exchange. And Guts is like, are you sure? Like, what are you talking about? And Casca's like, dude, we don't have a fucking choice. Like, they're an assassination group. She's about to fucking die. We don't want her to die. Like, I don't think that'll make things better for us, right? It's literally unavoidable, which is what she says, right? She's like, it's unavoidable. So Homeboy's like, good, that's great. You, maid lady, bring her here. It's fine. If you don't resist, like, we won't. If you don't resist, like, we won't kill you. It's fine. Like, spoken like a true cop, right? So he brings her over, and she's like, you know, still very out of it. But as she's walking away, she grabs on to Griffith's cape while she's leaving, and she tries to, like, say, you know, we're gonna be together always. And, you know, everybody else kind of catches this, including Judo, Guts, and Casca. And Pippin. And, you know, they all kind of, like, let them have their little moment. But Griffith, I've read this part, like, several times, and I still know exactly what's going on here. But Griffith tries to mouth something to her, but he can't speak, right? So nothing comes out. And, you know, she kind of accepts that and then turns to leave, right? Like, he can't talk, right? Like, I don't think she was expecting too much, right? And, you know, so they turn around, Casca tells her, you know, go ahead and go over to him. So Anna goes over. She's like, well, everyone, it was really great. Thanks for the short time. I'll see y'all later. Like, I like this because you can tell she's a little relieved. Like, she's like, oh, thank God. Like, we're not having to be deal with this, right? So, you know, the Bakiraka guys, like, you know, go on through. He's like, feel free to pass through, right? And, you know, nothing happens. But the female Bakiraka member, like, pops up and, like, out of nowhere. And she's like, come this way. Like, I'll take you to the castle, right? So they end up leaving. The longest member of the Bakiraka is like, okay, now we can kill you. All right, now that all that's out of the way, we can go, like, full force, right? And as he says that, the frogman pops back up, looking more terrifying than ever. Like I said, he has teeth. I feel like that's the most terrifying part about him. He literally looks like that Yoko Taro. Wait, yeah, I think I have it pulled up. Yeah, he literally looks like this shit right here. So, he stabs up at Pippin, but Pippin reacts really quickly and blocks it with his hammer and tries to, like, smash him with the sharp part of the hammer, right? So, you know, the guy ends up swimming away. He probably is like a mermaid hybrid, or something, because he's, like, really good at fucking swimming. But yeah, he, like, dodges it, and as they're still trying to take care of that, you know, him and the leader are trying to, like, double team them, right? So he's hopping over them, tries to slash Griffith from behind, but Casca catches him, and he's not able to get his hit in. She tries to slash at him, but isn't catching him, right? So she starts commanding, and it's like, form a ring around Griffith. And, you know, the leader is kind of cackling. He's like, yeah, now, let's go ahead and do it. So there's another member, right? Like, they killed one of them. There's 4 more left, right? So we haven't seen the other one. So there's a guy at the other end, right? And you see his arm, like, kind of, like, tense up, like, all the veins and shit pop out. And he fucking has this gigantic harpoon, and he's somewhere in the tunnel, right? We don't know where he is, and it's not just one harpoon. He has them fucking, like, stacked up on the wall next to him. Like, he was like watching the end of the tunnel, saw their little lantern, and was like, "Oh, that's cool." Went and grabbed his little harpoon, set him on the side, and he's like, "All right, this is what we're doing." So he chucks the first one, and luckily, like, very luckily, Guts, like, hears it coming and blocks it, right? And, like, barely blocks it. It knocks him on his, like, ass. He, like, flies across the tunnel after it hits him. And, you know, Casca's, like, worried about him. He's like, stay focused, stupid. It's fine. I think he was, like, kind of proud of himself for blocking that, right? He was like, yeah, no, I'm good.
I would be.
Like, yeah. Yeah, it's like, you see this shit? Which, like, I was honestly impressed by this part, because I was like, oh shit, he heard that? Like, that's kind of cool. Because, like, yeah, and so, you know, he tells Casca, she's like, what the fuck was that? He's like, it's a javelin. Like, it felt like it was a cannon getting shot at me. They're sniping us from the end of the tunnel, right? He's like, douse the light. Don't let that frog thing. Yes, don't. Yeah. So, I'm sorry. Casca's like, they're sniping us. Take the lights out. And Guts is like, no, don't do that. The frog dude's still here. He could fuck us up too. And, you know, then they start hearing that he's prepping another harpoon, and they're like, wait, another one's coming, everybody get down. And they block it. Guts ends up blocking this one too, and it, like, ricochets all the way down the tunnel, right? And as he sees the ricochet, like, you know, Judo turns around and is like, he's like, starts, like, thinking, right? Because they're fucked at this point. Like, they're gonna need another idea. They can't brute force their way out of this one like the old Guts way, right? So even Guts is like, dude, his aim is dead on. We're gonna die before we even get close to that part of the tunnel. So what the fuck are we gonna do now? So Judo is like, I'm gonna put the light out, but I have an idea. And Casca, who's really into asking questions right now, is like, an idea. And he's like, no, don't worry about it. Just I'll tell you guys what to do. He's like, Pippin, whenever I give you the signal, hit the shit out of the wall. And in the meantime, I'm gonna do one of my street performances. So he's like, you can pay me admission later, right? He says his cool guy line, because this is the 90s. We have to have those for everybody, right?
Judo also has so many of these where he's like, oh, yeah. I have my line.
Judo is, like, genuinely hot shit, which is kind of funny. Yeah. Like, I love Judo. So
Judo's great. Most of the time.
yeah, most of the time. He, so they douse the lights, right? And the tunnel goes completely black. The guy at the end of the tunnel who's like throwing the harpoons is like, oh, what the fuck? He's like, they turned the lights out. They're really dumb. Well, between the claw heart, between my, you know, homie with the Wolverine claws and me, you're gonna fucking die. So it doesn't matter anyway. So he gets ready to throw another one anyway. And while he's doing that, Judo's bouncing knives off the side of the tunnel, right? And every time he does it, there's a flash of light. And Casca's like, Judo? Like, she's like, we're waiting, like, we don't have lights, we can't see shit, we don't know what the fuck is going on, we're waiting, right? So, a spark goes off. And when the spark goes off, Judo's like paying a lot of attention. So when he sees it, he can kind of see where the guy on the top of the tunnel is. He's like, okay. And then he gets ready another one, right? And he throws it, and he used that one to spot where the big guy is with the harpoons. So he's like, okay, cool. I know where he is. And he throws him immediately, like, gets him right in the neck, kills the guy, like, outright, who's throwing the harpoons, right? 2 daggers directly to the neck. Or, like, these are, like, throwing knives or something, I'm pretty sure? Yeah, they're, like...
Yeah, they're, like, his little, like, things that he's always spinning around and polishing and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so he kills that guy, right? They don't have to worry about him anymore. So he says, Pippin, hit the wall as hard as you can. We'll see the enemy by the sparks. So Pippin smacks the shit out of the wall with his hammer. And, like, sure enough, it's just, like, enough force that it produces enough sparks for them to see what's going on for a moment. So while this happens, Casca sees the frogman coming up with his trident. Guts can see the guy with the claws reaching down to, like, get Griffith. And they both just end up fucking destroying. Casca stabs the frog guy right in his neck. And Guts completely splits the leader's head open. And
he brain.
Yeah, he's dead. He's super dead. Like, it's arguable the frogman's dead. The leader's, like, super dead. But that's how the chapter ends with, honestly, one of the coolest combat sequences I think they had in here. Especially because it was telegraphed well. But yeah, no, that's the end of the Bakiraka at the moment. We do have some more to go with them, as you know, there are like, there's one more member left. But that's most of them for now. So, yeah, and that's the end of our second chapter for today. So, yeah.
Slash!
That is... And we got one more before the volume is done, but we're going to do that next time because we're kind of getting back in the swing of things.
Yeah. Also, next chapter is kind of fucking nuts, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, it's pretty
so if you've been, like, only listening to our Berserk episodes, they've been mostly tame as far as, like, really disturbing stuff. Like, there's, like, disturbing gore and stuff like that. It just kicks it up to a weird notch this next episode. So just full disclosure. We meet Wild, who is he is a character.
Boy. He sure is.
It's definitely a guy. Yeah,
he exists. Wild is the one that I have been dreading talking about for like months now because I was like, right, I don't want to do this, but. We will, as we do.
Yeah, we'll talk about Wild. We'll get
to Wild.
We do have plenty to talk about today, even though, like, most of it was combat sequence. It was a pretty cool combat sequence. But, yeah, the Bakiraka. So, yeah, super racist. Let's just get this done off the bat.
Yeah, okay, so let's...
So, this isn't the first, like, Middle Eastern stereotype we will see in Berserk. It's not the first one we've seen in Berserk, either. We've already seen a couple.
We got a whole country, guys. We will see more later.
Yeah.
And they are very, like, mystic, I promise.
It's very... They're very mystical or very barbaric. And I feel like... So, like, I don't know. I'm one of those people where, like, I get really, like... Sometimes I have to, like, calm myself down when I hear some phrases and stuff like that, because I know people don't... Not everybody has, like, the same, like, context for a lot of words, right? So, like, there's something about the Bakiraka where it's, like, they're, like, barbaric or whatever. And, like, being barbaric or, like, ruthless is one of those, like, things that, like, whenever people talk about, like, I think this actually was one of the things that almost turned me off a new Pokemon game. But it was, like, when I saw, like, the caveman-esque shit or whatever. Or, like, there's, like, it's, like, technology versus, like, primal stuff. And
Primal is such a...
I hate that shit.
So bad.
But that's kind of the stereotype I see a lot of the time when they show characters like the Bakiraka, which when you keep reading the manga, like way later we'll learn, like there's a whole nation of these guys, like there's a whole like section of the world where there are people who look like them. Like this isn't just like a one-off thing. Like these guys exist in the world, technically.
Like as we even heard the king say like, I'm gonna kill your people if you keep doing this. Like there's like designated like groups and tribes of people who live this lifestyle.
Yeah.
And to like a bare minimum credit, Miura does flesh this out a little more later on and gets like a tick less racist about it, but not by much. Yeah. It's still really bad.
Who was our homie that we saw? Because we saw somebody from this, I think he's from the same area already.
Yeah, it was the guy that got fought.
Sealot.
Sealot.
Yeah, Sealot.
He was the one who fought Casca. I was like, I don't care if you're a woman, I'll fucking kill you.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. um, yeah, and then he has this whole thing, and like we said before, we see him again. He comes back, but I'm not sure how to feel about that yet. So, but it's so unfortunate because, like, you see a lot of stuff in media where like East Asia is very exoticized in a lot of ways, and like I think a lot of people are like, oh, like, if you're in Asia, you're not doing that to other places, and that is not true. There is a lot of Japanese media that like really likes to like portray like Indian culture specifically, or like from like the country and also the surrounding countries. Like they all just kind of mix it together, and then there's a lot of Arab countries and people from the oh my god, there's like I can only remember like the like Christian term for the area, which is like Middle East, North Africa, but like there's so many different people in that area. And so it's always like interesting to see how racism like combines with this stuff, because they're just like, like belly dancing and like Bollywood dancing is the same basically, and like, oh, like Indian belly dancing is the same as like Egyptian belly dancing, which it's not. Like there's different styles for a reason, and also most of it does not look like people think, because that was literally made for tourists and not for like fun. It's kind of like how there's a lot of Hawaiian dances that are closed practice, and a lot of the stuff that's presented to tourists is like for tourism, or was up until like relatively recently, you know. I think there's been, especially in Hawaii, there's been like a huge push to like reclaim a lot of culture and share that part of their culture with people as they're like trying to be more independent and stuff, which is really important to talk about.
Of course.
So like seeing that stuff is always really cool, and you're like, oh, that's really awesome. But when you like see stuff from like an Elvis movie or something, you're gonna see the grass skirts and everything, right? And if you see something from like, I don't know, like an old cartoon, if they go to like Fiji or something, it's the same thing, and they don't like distinguish between it at all, except they might be a little more racist about it somehow, because they also like include Black people along with it. Aboriginal people,
because why not?
Yeah, why not? It just, like, I don't know. It's, what I'm saying is there's always, like, a mishmash of cultures. And, like, when I look at the Bakiraka specifically, I'm like, okay, I feel like they're supposed to be Indian or, like, from that area. But also there's, like, weird Middle Eastern stuff that comes through with, like, how they choose to, like, portray them and how you've seen, like, Hollywood stuff, So it's, like, through this, like, very weird lens. I think I talked about this with Salat too, where I was just kind of like he's Arab, but he's not Arab, and like he had like the eyeliner and stuff, but like
the Egyptian type. It was
like and then like he had like a very narrow face. He was very sharp featured, which is how people depict Arabs a lot of the time. Like very long, sharp features, which like is like not entirely inaccurate, but when you're making a caricature, it's not
and you're exaggerating it to like insane standards. It's
just, I don't know, it's always intriguing to see. And also when I first saw the woman in the Bakiraka thing, we'll get to that next time, never mind. But when I first saw the woman, I was like, oh, great, because like she's like barely got clothes on, and it's like, and, like, there are parts of the world where women don't wear a lot of clothes, and that is, like, cultural, and it's fine, but it's not weird like that, they're just, like,
it's not like...
This is, like, very intentional, like...
it's supposed to be, like, because, like, the way it's, like, hugging her body and stuff like that, and, like, he does that a lot with the way he draws people, right? I totally agree. Because it's different from, like, if you watch, like you said, you go to any part of the world, like, there are plenty of places where women just don't wear shirts or anything like that, and it's not like a sexual thing. It's just like that's just what it is. It is what it is. So like I don't know. And I feel like you did you did exactly what you said what I was thinking, which is like he mixes a lot of stuff, and that's a lot of like the weird thing with the racism stuff is they mix so many things in it, because like there's like they all have like turbans on, but also like dude straight up looks like Dawson. But, like, that's the thing. Dawson from Street Fighter also is, like, a super racist stereotype. Because he's supposed to be Indian, but, like, a lot of his stuff is very, like... an amalgamation of those areas, and only until like
yeah.
the most recent game and maybe like a game or two before that, they've like really like honed in on like, no, he's Indian, and we're trying not to be as terrible about it anymore. Like they're like, he is Indian. Like we know it's always been like that, but yeah, like so I totally understand what you mean with that part, because that's what kind of bothers me with this is like he does this with other things, right? We talked about him doing this with like a lot of like Christian like imagery and stuff like that, right? Like, he just kind of like mixes a bunch of shit together, right? And it just rubs me the wrong way when like this is just like a really weird, lazy stereotyping way, right? Because it's not like I thought that was cool because he's mixing all these different things to be like, yeah, it's like this Christian imagery, all the Jesuses that don't have a face because it's supposed to be Jesus, like all that stuff like that is like funny, right? But like that's like in a creative way. This is like, because that's the thing is like I don't even know if he had this idea fully fleshed out when he got to this part, because a lot of because a lot more characters like them start popping up, and he does give them more background and like there's more like to it than that. But so far, every brown person we've met is like, I'm an assassin, I'm gonna fucking kill you, and I'm from this like violent land. And that's all we know about them.
A rapist or whatever, you know?
Yes,
like,
or
like one of the two.
Hi, I'm the first black person you met. I'm also a rapist. Like, yeah, it's like, what the fuck is going on? I still think
about that sometimes, and I'm just like, God, I'm so glad we're past that, but like well past that. But I'm also just like, really set the tone for like how he viewed darker skinned people, and like, always putting them in roles where like, they're not, you know, like Casca is like ambiguous, and I think it's hinted that she's kind of from this area or something.
From what I've like, I think because we talked about this before, like we don't know exactly where she's from, but she's supposed to be from around those areas, because in official art, I don't care what your favorite fan artist does. In official art, she's dark skinned, right? Like she's not like she's dark skinned. Even like Guts is not like white, right? Like he's like tannish. Like we don't know where they're really from, right? Even though like I don't know, Guts' art is really weird because back in the day they used to draw him like darker, and then like I feel like as time has gone on, he's gotten whiter. But I don't know what happened there. He doesn't go out
very much anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
he doesn't go out in the sunlight. He just
considering there's like almost no sunlight anymore. But
he's not doing great. But I don't know. Like Guts is always very interesting to me because like he is like the most like ambiguous of ambiguous characters in this for me. Where like I could see him being several things, and like sometimes I kind of like when an MC is that way, especially in a fantasy setting, because it makes it a lot easier to like have fan interpretations of things and seeing people's ideas, but B, it's also like people are less likely to argue about it and be like, no, he's definitely white, and you're just like, what are you talking about?
In my head canon, like, no, that's not a white dude. That's my favorite thing about most anime characters is people would be like, that's a white person. It's like, it takes place in Japan.
Fucking time. And like, okay, let's be smart about this. And you know, sometimes there is a French bitch in a Japanese anime.
Yes.
You know, like they're like, I'm from France, and it's like, yeah, we know. You make a point to say that like 6 times, and also you're blonde.
We for some reason, between every other line.
God. I can think of like Japanese people have it out for the French, and they are correct. But also
that I'm okay with.
Yeah, that's fine. And like, to me, also the difference between like, you know, portraying, we talked about this back when we talked about this before, where it's like Christianity is an oppressive like religion in most places. It is a colonizer's religion that is being implemented in a lot of places. And, you know, places like Japan are included in that. So I don't really care if if people like do silly shit with it. I don't care if like the guy who made Eva, it was like, I just like crosses.
I fucks with crosses.
I thought that was funny. I don't care if the Trigun person is like, I just like religious imagery. Also, I thought like this Jesus shit was kind of cool. I don't know.
He had a stick ponytail, bro. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like that kind of thing doesn't bother me. It's more when like, I don't know. And you can like argue about like lateral oppression or like whatever you want to do. It is shitty when you portray somebody else's like race as like a negative thing, and it's intentionally like visually created for you to think negatively about them.
Yeah, because also
literally calls them an it in it.
Yeah,
also.
he calls him an it, and also like think about like when this came out, right? Like if this wasn't like 2020 when this came out, this was fucking like the 1990s. Go back and look at media around the Middle East in the 1990s and see what the rest of the world thought about the Middle East. If you think it's bad today, oh shit, it was much worse in the 90s. And like I wasn't even like I get it. Oh, I was born in 95. I wasn't like
Jones
super alive.
again.
Yeah, go watch Jesus Christ. Go watch Indiana Jones again. Go watch anything with like any sort of like Arab stereotype. A lot of stuff that was happening in the early 2000s in America, there was, oh my god, I feel like all pieces of media were just fully fucking Islamophobic, flat out racist. Like 24. It was 24. The whole fucking concept is brown people must be stopped. Basically,
the Middle East was full of people we just killed, and also Chinese people were evil.
Also the Chinese. That's my favorite. And also the Chinese. That's my favorite thing about 24.
Tack it on.
It's insane, right? So like I just feel like if anybody's like viewing this, like I feel like this is one of those things you have to view with context, right? You can't just go like, well, I don't think about them like that. Yeah, that's great for you, but you have to look at like worldview, like what's going on in that area. A lot of people don't even see the Middle East as like multiple countries. They see it as like just this place that's just a bunch of brown people.
Sometimes still,
yes,
you know? And like when in reality that whole area, like they kind of flow into each other in some places, but like each country is very distinct. And like if you try to speak Arabic in like different countries, you're gonna struggle because like the dialects differ so much. And like even though I think I've talked before about how like written Arabic is the same across the board because it's how they like read the Quran and how they've chosen to keep their text like as pure as possible, for lack of a better term. But spoken Arabic has evolved because language evolves over the course of years. People in the Middle East are not talking super formally a lot of the time, especially like with your peers. You're saying all kinds of shit. There's stuff where it like fuses with English in really interesting ways, or where they like write with like English characters, but like they use numbers and stuff to like indicate Arabic letters that don't exist in English. Oh, that's really cool. But sorry, I like that a lot. Yeah. No, it is. It's called like Arabizi or something. It's really
that's
funny because English and Arabic is Inglesi.
Oh, that's fun.
But yeah, so but yeah, like if I talk to someone in Egypt, I could not understand them sometimes because their accent and like some of the words they even use are just entirely different. And I'm like, I understood like 3/4 of that sentence, but what is this? And they'll like point at it, and I'm like, oh, it's this. And they're like, no, Jordanian, don't say that. They're like,
I spotted you.
Gotcha. And like Lebanon's kind of the same. Like every area has their own everything, and if you get into places like Iraq and Iran, you start running into like Aramaic and stuff too. So it's just there's so many things.
It's like South America with like Spanish, right? Like it's all different no matter where you go. And then you go to Mexico, and then you go to fucking Spain, and you try to take somebody from Mexico and try to get them to talk to somebody in Spain, like Spanish, they'll start fighting each other because they're like, what the fuck are you trying to say?
You sound like, stupid.
You sound dumb. No, you sound dumb. That's kind of how it'll go.
Yeah, I actually saw a really interesting video recently where someone was talking about how like weird Europeans are about Americans in a lot of ways, but also like Spaniards in particular are really weird about Mexicans. And I'm like, you're the ones who went over there.
Yeah, y'all did that. Y'all know y'all did that, right?
It's so like beyond me. It's kind of like how British people talk about like American English, where they're like, you sound weird, and it's like, you know, like Southern dialect is like closer to Old English than what you were speaking.
There was some survey that went out that like apparently British English is getting further and further away from English, and actually American English is getting closer to Old English because like British people are starting to like not pronounce the A in things anymore. Like they're just like leaving it out totally. Like they surveyed people like 10 years ago versus now, and the numbers like flipped almost. Like there's some words that like people don't pronounce the A in. And
That makes
there's
a lot
some
of
people,
sense,
there's
though.
some British people being like, yeah, we don't fucking need it. They're like, why? And they're like, we still speak the right English. And people are like, we can't fucking understand you. You're losing letters every time, every time you update your language.
So I don't know. It's so interesting too, because like I don't know, you get into like Scotland and Wales and Ireland, and they all have their own like distinct languages that
Yeah.
are like that they spoke before England came along, you know,
And fucked all that shit up.
and fucked all of it up, and that's why their accents are the way they are, and they're- like you can even like apply all of that to English, you know. But anyways, the video was about how like Europeans think they are like distinctly not racist when like they're actually like behind in a lot of ways because they won't like even acknowledge that the racism exists, which is a point that a lot of Americans kind of had to come to, especially in like the 2010s, you know, where people are like, yeah, a lot of people are starting to get shot. We should probably like talk about this more, you know, and be serious about this and advocate for this.
Yeah.
And it's important, you know, but like I would say up until that point, America was kind of in the same boat where they're like,
oh yeah,
racism's
everything's fine.
over.
And I find myself when I do see like a British like you spot a British person and an American person's conversation on Twitter all the time because they like to do this thing where they're like, you guys are so focused on race over there, and then sometimes without fail a non-white like British person will pop up and be like, can you shut the fuck up and stop saying like I see you guys on here every day going like what do you mean racism is fixed? And then like a non-white British person will come in and be like, no, stop talking for me. Things are not great. Can you shut up? Like stop saying that
really
everything's
bad
fine.
here, actually. Yeah. There's
Yeah.
a lot of police brutality in those places too. I love when French people try to act like their police don't do shit, and I'm like, you are a liar.
Bro, y'all are protesting year round. What are you talking about?
Like, I don't want to hear it. But I don't know. I also just think about like British media that like I've consumed in the past and enjoyed. You know, I can't remember if I've talked about Magnus Archives on here, but like something that didn't sit right with me even when I was like binging it and like I had no critical thinking blinders on. I was just like, yeah, I'm just listening to
this is
shit.
fire, yeah.
Yeah, it's great. But there were even some episodes there where I was like,
yeah.
because there's like an episode where there's like a Chinese guy who like serves like human meat, basically. Yeah.
Come on, dude. Like, okay, sometimes I wonder if some of y'all just born like after 2007 or something.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, okay, this is gonna sound bad. I was about to say we're losing recipes
continue.
because I feel like there's so many like racist stereotypes people act like never existed. And I'm like, no, like that was a thing. Like just because you think it's horrible to think that, like that was still the thing. Like people used to make jokes all the time.
It's horrible, but like
We used to make jokes all the time about like, oh, the Chinese shop around the place would take the cats from the surrounding area, and that urban myth circulates like at least once every few years. Like there's like this dumb article that'll pop up, be like, Chinese restaurant found using dogs and cats, and it's like this is an old stereotype. Like this is not like yeah. So I don't know. Like and I kind of agree. Like just back to your point about like why I don't care, like why we don't care about the Christian part, but we do care about like general brown racism, because there's no like critique here, right? Like there's nothing here. He's like, I want to say something nuanced here. It's literally like, what do I do about these villains? Those guys in the Middle East are pretty brown and pretty like violent. I can use one of them. That's cool. That's cool. Okay, let me start drawing this. And I feel like, yeah, it's exotic, and that's the perfect word for it. Because every time Miura does this, it's for the exoticism. It's for like to be like they're scary because we don't know where they're from. Like even when the soldiers start talking about them at first, right? Mm-hmm. Like one of them is like, which one first one's like the Bakiraka, but they're like, yeah, they're really frightening. They're shrouded in mystery. That's like another like I don't even know the origin of that stereotype, but it's always like this weird stereotype with people who wear like turbans or live in places with a lot of sand that. They're like, oh, it's mystical and it's magic and it's mystery.
I have a game theory about that.
Yeah.
So my game theory is that people are fucking nosy and they don't get why people wear like face coverings ever, and so they say it and they're like, oh, they're hiding something. They must be really mysterious, and like there's not anything more to it than that. But it like developed into such a stereotype that people are like, oh, the mystic Middle East, and like I think also like a lot of the stories that come out of the Middle East are like very magic focused in a lot of ways. There's a lot of things that like I feel like an American audience or like a British audience hadn't seen before they went to the Middle East and like started hearing like the stories from 1001 Nights and stuff like that, which is an actual like era like anthology basically of like Arab stories. And there's a lot of stuff in there that's like pretty crazy to like a Western audience because you haven't been introduced to that before. And there's a lot of magic involved in that stuff. And you're kind of like, damn, that shit's crazy. Like, what the fuck? And so these people are crazy. And, like, I think all that, like, combined, like, oh, like, they cover up. They, like, wear weird clothes that, like, are, like, really billowy and stuff because it's fucking hot outside. And he's wearing a fucking suit in the fucking desert.
Why are you covering everything? Yeah,
Why
I don't...
Why are you wearing a skirt? You're a guy. And it's, like, because it's hot, bro.
It's hot as fuck, dude. Like, have you been out here? Like, yeah.
Like, I when I lived in the Middle East, I used to cover, like, completely, and some of that was for modesty, but some of it was also, honestly, just because it was cooler sometimes to wear, like, a loose cardigan or, like, shrug than it was to, like, just be in the heat and, like, have... Also, I'm, like, I don't know if y'all noticed, I'm really pale. But, like, I burn really easily, and so it was a way to, like, keep myself from, like, getting crunchy. Like, it's just smart.
And I feel like that's, like, kind of what... I think you said it the right way. It's, like, nobody asked, and but they're being nosy at the same time. Is like...
Yeah.
I feel like...
Why is that?
Ooh, why is that? Or they're, like, really weird about, like... If it's a religious thing, which like they don't even know that all the time. Sometimes they just make assumptions and they're like, yeah it's a religious thing. And I don't know. And specifically like turbans or hijabs and things like that, the weird ways that those are incorporated into like mysticism or to like make somebody seem untrustworthy or to make them seem like oppressed or something like that is like always really strange to me because like especially because they were like, I remember like 2010s, there were so many like Muslim women like on Tumblr and stuff being like, leave me alone. Like I like this shit. Look, I'm wearing a cute one right now. Like I love this shit. I'm wearing my shit. Like
oh god, I forgot about
they're
that
trying
period
to like
of time.
because they were trying to get people off their dicks because they're like people were like they're oppressed. We need to save them or some shit like that. And it's like no, like people make the choices that they want to make. Like you don't have to like think that entire section of the world is like under duress, right? And that's like the implication behind when people use stuff like that, which is unfair, right? And that's when I see the Bakiraka, and I think one of the dudes is even wearing like what is this? What is Homeboy the biggest dude wearing? I forgot what it's like. It's not like a loincloth, but it's like it's like wearing almost nothing. But yeah, no.
Yeah, he's got like it's weird because it's almost like a toga sort of situation. Going, you know, and again, just lots of stuff combining. And obviously, Rome is not the only place that like wore loose fabric wrapped around. But that's what it looks like. Yeah. Yeah, it's more that than like how people traditionally would dress, and like I don't know. It's always just really wacky seeing this stuff, and like. I have been happy on social media to don't take that at full value. Specifically with this thing, I have been happy recently because like I've seen a lot of like hijabi women who like are wearing Lolita out in public and like embracing that and like doing a bunch of things with like subcultures and showing like oh this is how like we choose to dress alternatively, you know, and like. It was always especially weird to me when people were weird when there were hijabi Lolitas because I'm like, it's about modesty. Like, that's what Lolita is about.
Yeah, that's...
to an extent.
Yeah, have they seen what a regular Lolita dress is like? Like, they're fully covered. Like, that's the whole... They wear, like, gloves and shit. Like...
They'll, like, hunt you down like a dog if you, like, don't... Well, not as much anymore, but, like, if you just wear the dress, like, in the summer. And it's just, like Texan Lolitas and people who are in hotter places being like, I'm not gonna fucking do that because it's hot as shit here.
Salute to the Texan Lolita fashion, the people that I've seen in Houston, like, in the past couple years. Because holy shit, y'all look like y'all are burning up, but you're doing what you want to do. Because there's some of those dedicated people to their fashion, I swear to God.
They're wearing those petticoats, they're wearing the like knee highs. They're doing everything.
every fucking thing.
Wow, that is so crazy.
I
remember at A-Con, like every year I would go, there would be the Lolita meetup there.
Mm-hmm.
And watching them walk like across the courtyard and stuff, like in the heat, I was just like, damn, that is so impressive.
Braver than the fucking Marines.
Seriously, it's hot as fuck out here. You're gonna get a heat stroke.
Y'all better go inside.
It's like people who do like Final Fantasy cosplay and go do shoots outside in the Texas heat. I'm like, you're crazy. Have fun with that. God in heaven.
Slash.
So you guys got plenty out of us this time. We're back for 2023. Yay, we're all back on track.
Very excited. We have plans this year. We talk a lot of like we talk a lot about streaming, but we do want to do that this year for y'all, especially like now that we have a lot under our belt and we have our video stuff going. So we have a lot of things planned for this year. We'll see how much we get done, but
we'll see how much we get done. But we do want to do a stream, which will probably be coming up in February. So keep an eye out for that. What we might do for that is there might be a weekend where like we have an episode ready to go, or we're gonna do that instead of the episode. So we'll keep you guys posted on that in the future. We actually just redid some of our social media like internally, like as far as what we want to do. So just to like let you guys know what's going on. If you want an update on what's happening, like if you haven't seen an episode, if you want to know an episode's out, go check our Twitter. Twitter is so weird with engagement right now. If you're not verified, you don't get your shit seen. It's very hard to get seen on Twitter right now. So only go there if you like. Or if you haven't seen our posts, I'll just go directly to our page and go look at it.
Or like, if you only follow us for that on Twitter exclusively, and I'm not saying this in like a turn on notifications, but like you will probably miss it if you don't have notifications.
Oh yeah, because and it won't be annoying because at Twitter we don't plan on spamming because it doesn't really seem worth the effort to post that much on there. You'll probably see us a lot more active on Instagram, TikTok, especially as the episodes are coming out more. We're going to be doing a lot more clips on there. I'm probably going to start making just stuff on there as well. Cal will as well too. He's honestly a lot better at TikTok than I am. You guys should follow him as well. But
I post Sanrio stuff. It's great.
Yeah, I'm sure there's definitely somebody who listens to this who's definitely invested in that, honestly.
I hope so.
Yeah, like
intersection of Vocaloid and Berserk.
Yeah, that stuff's so fun.
Yeah, great.
But yeah, so catch us on Twitter at let's_unpack_it. Catch us on Instagram at unpack.pod. You can email us at we'reunpackingit@gmail.com. We also have a Tumblr. Is it We're Unpacking
I'm looking it up.
Or
he's
looking it up right now. So
it's new. We're still getting used to that one.
Yeah, we're still getting used to that one. That one will be we'll start posting episodes there as well, or clips there as well that you can listen to. So that's going to be like more of a home base for like more free posting stuff. So, or just like shit posting and stuff like that. So Tumblr will probably be more for that kind of stuff. But I think it's We're Unpacking It at
it's We're Unpacking It.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to go find it.
All good. We're Unpacking It .tumblr.com. So go follow us there if you have a Tumblr. We post there. We're gonna start, like I said, now that we have the episodes coming out, we're gonna start posting there more as the year goes on. So
we'll probably be interacting a lot there too, just because like it's a smaller space. It's honestly what I've used since I was like 12, so like pretty comfortable with it. But yeah, if you want to follow us on Tumblr, which I never thought I would be saying in 2023, if you want to follow us on Tumblr, go ahead.
Go ahead and follow us on there. So you can catch us on all those platforms and stuff. We'll be posting, so like I said, Twitter, it'd be easier to turn on notifications because then you'll know when the episodes come out. If we have any announcements, like there's not going to be an episode this week. So really happy to be playing. Not playing. I said playing because I was looking at my fucking internal for my next hitbox, but I'm going to be recording a lot of. We're going to be recording a lot more. Doing a lot of stuff about Chainsaw Man. Going to try to do a stream and just keep this whole thing going. So thank you for everybody who always tunes in. I spent the weekend partially with my wife's family, and her mom was telling me that she does listen to the podcast, and she has no idea what we're talking about, but she supports it and she likes it, and she likes.
Haley's mom.
Yeah, no, and for full context, Cal, I think we've talked about the podcast before. Cal officiated my wedding, so she was like, and I know the people who host it. I've met both of them, so it's really cool. It's like really real to me, and I'm like, that's really awesome. Thank you, mother-in-law. So if you're listening to this, I love you very much, and thank you for always supporting us. So we really appreciate it.
So cute. Sorry. Oh my God.
Yeah, no, she. Yeah, we were.
Oh God.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, I know I curse a lot on here, but no, she's always been a really supportive person, so thank you. We really appreciate it, and everybody else who donates every month, who checks in on our YouTube page, we do post there, who views all that stuff, because you guys are actually watching. I do appreciate that. I will look at that when I don't have my string screaming, but yeah, you guys are really like awesome at like supporting us and stuff. So I'm very serious about this. I know Cal is serious about it too. We both have day jobs, and this is like really fun for us to not do the day jobs.
Do our day jobs.
It's a lot more fun. So thank y'all for always supporting, and you can catch us honestly in about 2 weeks for the next Berserk episode. So got plenty more to go for you guys, and yeah, 2023 is gonna be fun, gonna be more steady. We're a little more stable now, so but yeah, and at the same time, they'll check that Twitter in case we decide to take another break. So yeah, because we actually may take a break in March, because I will be gone for like a week, but we'll keep you guys updated on that. So don't worry about that too much. But
we might try to pre-record something or like post another Bunny Trails or a Chainsaw Man thing, but we'll just see how it all plays out, and we'll let you guys know. Maybe I'll stream something on that Sunday or something. We'll see what happens.
See? Yeah, exactly. So we have plenty of stuff coming for you guys. So thanks for tuning in, and catch you guys next time for episode 35. And the last member of the Bakiraka to totally not get obliterated. So,
yeah, they're fine.
Yeah, she's best friends now. She's actually the main character. But yeah, we'll catch you guys.
She and Casca are doing great.
All right, y'all. We'll catch you later.
Yeah.
Bye.
Game over!